What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. This is Porgo, and I was hoping we would do a trailer's reaction today for a Street Fighter collaboration character like Akuma, Bison, or Ryu, because we haven't had a trailer for any of those characters yet, but Netmarble hasn't dropped one for some reason. I waited and waited until the last minute, and that's why this video is coming up late, because I was waiting for a trailer that never dropped, which is kind of peculiar to me because we do have the collaboration just in a few days. So you would think they would put out a trailer right away, letting us know or letting us show us getting this hyped up even more for these characters. But for whatever reason, Netmarble decided not to do that. So what we're going to do today is we're actually going to talk about Rugal and Orochi as far as where they are on the tier list, like, because both of these characters got some pretty insane buffs. They are godly stronger than what they were before, and they're both, 2 out of 4 characters that actually have change-up kits available. Now, regarding this tier list, I actually only adjusted for these two. I actually need to adjust it for 98 Omega and 97 Orochi, which I will. But for these two characters, the thing about them, guys, is they're both glass cannons. That's the thing about both these characters. In fact, Orochi, even though he's got so much damage and he melts meters super fast because he does tons of hits, his 3PG gets interrupted, which sucks. It sucks badly, guys. Like, that thing getting interrupted is it's not good, because whenever you're facing Nightmare Geese, especially not against Rugal Guild Raid, it's not such a big deal. But against Nightmare Geese, I mean, he just does so much damage when he does Raging Storm that, I mean, he can kill your Orochi pretty damn quick, right? And I know with the change-up kit, they do offer these little things with the change-up kits where you can actually go in your core and you go in your core board and you have what's called tenacity. And with tenacity, you can actually get a decreased damage received by 99% and a heal, right? But this is only going to be up every so often, guys. It's not as good as a shield. And that's the point of this video, really, is that both of these characters, even though they're super, super strong, they're god tier power as far as damage, they're still both a couple glass cannons because they can die very easily, guys. They don't have a shield. They don't really, I mean, yeah, you can get this decreased damage received, but the problem with this thing is once you hit this skill, once you hit the EX change-up skill, you get a 20-second cooldown on this thing, right? Or if you, and then, so you can hit it, but a lot of times what happens is, like, it's very awkward to play with because you're jumping into a game mode, say like Guild Raid, and you're spamming your skills. You hit your Awaken skill to spam your skills. Once you hit your Awaken skill, you can't use your EX skill. That's the problem with this thing. It's not like a shield that just pops up whenever you're taking damage, right? It's much more reliable than this setup right here. This actually isn't near as good as a shield, at least as far as survivability is concerned. Yeah, if properly played and you use it to its best capability, like if you time using this thing, right, before you use your Awakened skill, then it's probably not going to be so bad, but it's not near as good or as efficient as a shield as far as keeping your character alive. And that's a big, big problem with the EX change-up kit, right? With the EX skill, that's a huge, huge problem. And yeah, you get more damage from the shout, and you can get other little things like, immune to stun and freeze and all those things. But the characters still just don't have good enough survivability to really be put on that top tier. I mean, neither one of these characters even have a shield for a PvP, right? They really just bumped up their damage is all they did, right? And all these things are really doing is, well, again, just bumping up their damage, right? And damage-wise, they are god tier, right? And I'll show you guys where I got them on the tier list right now. They are insanely strong. You can see that I do have Rugal here as the best blue, right? His damage is godly. But, Mary, I mean, she's actually... I mean, she's got a more relevant dot because she actually has shock, right? It's just Rugal's damage is so insane. I had to put him on top. And Mary, by the way, because her shield is only for PvP, she's pretty fragile too. The thing that kind of, in a way, makes her better than Rugal, at least, well, actually does make her better than Rugal, in my opinion, is the fact that she has a decreased skill cooldown when you're applying shock damage, right? Right? So you can just keep running through your skills and running through your skills. But on Inferno, I mean, it can be a little tricky, right? You got to do a lot of damage, even when you're applying the right dot. But I do think Rugal, I mean, his damage is just nutty, guys. It's just ridiculous, right? And then when you talk about Orochi here, he's not as good as Nameless, in my opinion, as a character. As a full fold character from head to toe, he's not better, not in my opinion, right? I mean, Nameless actually has Dot Explosion on his default. Dot Explosion is very, very valuable. Nameless has a built-in shield. Nameless has a heal. Orochi doesn't have those things. And yeah, You could put tenacity on them and all that, but you're still going to run into those same problems, right? Once you hit your EX skill, it's going to be on a 20-second cooldown. You can't use it again, right? Or once you hit your awaken skill, then you're going to have a 60-second cooldown and you can't use your EX skill. It kind of sucks, guys. I mean, it's really not as good as what people think. I mean, really the big advantage of these characters having the EX change up is, yeah, you're buffing up their skills, you're gaining penetration, attack, defense, and all those things are good and dandy. You're just gaining a tremendous amount of damage, right? For PvP, I can see some relevance, but this isn't a PvP list. This is a PvE list, right? So the characters really, really do need some good survivability tools in order to keep them alive. I mean, Rugal guys can die easy. I mean, he can get freaking two-shotted by geese, no problem. And Orochi easily can, especially because his 3PG can actually get interrupted, right? I mean, in all honesty, guys, I think that Ino is actually a better character than Orochi. It's just, you know, his damage is just so good and he can melt meters so fast. That's the reason I'm putting him above Ino. But I mean, Ino's 3PG doesn't get interrupted, right? I mean, there's an argument to be made, honestly, for both of these characters. But the thing is, Orochi has a higher CP ceiling because you can actually take him to level 70. And the same with Rugal, right? The EX thing is nice. It's good, but it takes a tremendous amount of investment to take a character to level 70, right? That's something that kind of hurts the characters. And it honestly makes me question whether or not to really put them on top. If I'm being completely fair and honest with you guys, I mean, Rugal's my favorite character. And damage-wise, I mean, he should be on top. But as a complete character, as a whole, I mean, you can make an argument for Mary. I mean, you really could, right? Rugal's damage is better, don't get me wrong. But you could make an argument for Mary because, like I said, you could just keep her hyper up all the time in Guild Raid, and you can just keep applying damage, and her 3PG doesn't get interrupted, right? Right? She's actually got the proper dot for Inferno, where you can actually get an SS and BS memory, whereas Rugal don't. Rugal, you got to bring in strikers, you got to have the Show Me option cards, you got to finagle things in order to use him as a damage dealer, and the same with Orochi because he just uses Starlight. And Inferno's what counts when it comes to Guild Raid, guys. I put a lot of stock in that game mode because that's where we can actually get SS and BS memories. And in my opinion, Nameless is just a better character than Orochi. I mean, yeah, his damage isn't as good, but as a whole, like, I mean, guys, when you get the character, even at 1 star, he's got his shield, right? You don't have to unlock a bunch of crap to get the EX skill unlocked. You don't have to take a character to Awaken level 3 to do that, to 3 stars, right? Nameless will always have that shield available because it's from his passive. And in my opinion, it makes characters like that, well, better. It just makes them better. So I know a lot of people were expecting maybe Orochi and Rugal to be in God tier, but they just don't have the survivability. They cannot compete with any of these 3 characters in God tier. They cannot. As far as survivability, they can't. As far as damage, yeah, absolutely. But they can't, right? You know, God tier is, you know, insane survivability along with insane damage. And I just don't think that Orochi or Rugal belong there. Even with the EX skill unlocked, I just don't think they belong there. I still think the shield is actually better than the EX skill as far as survivability whenever you're talking about, say, tenacity, right? And, you know, when you take a look at other things that the characters have, I mean, you can unlock Metamorph, and Metamorph, you know, makes you immune to stun, freeze, petrify, and fear, but that's really just a PvP thing. That's not really so great for PvE, right? And Shout does increase your damage, but that's just damage. It does increase your survivability. And this is why I said a few videos back that I really don't think that change-up kits really make that big a difference, except for the CP gain, right? I mean, the problem with the characters is that you have to use an insane amount of resources to take them to level 70, guys. You need 10 memories to be able to do that. You need 3 memories to do the change-up kit for them, and then you need 7 other memories just to level them up all the way up. And then on top of that, getting all the experience bottles that you need for these characters, the level 6 and the level 7, it is very difficult to get these things unless you're a mega veteran like myself, where you're doing tier 62 or HD and you can get 45 of these level 6s every day. But I only get 2 of these level 7s every day. And yeah, you can get these from Guild Raid, but you don't get a whole lot of these from Guild Raid. That's the thing to keep in mind regarding this resource. And because we know that future characters are going to be balanced out to where if they don't have an EX change-up kit, they're going to be just as strong as characters that do have an EX change-up kit, right? Which is something that Netmarble already announced that they were going to do. So let me know what you guys think about the tier list. Do you agree with me where I have Orochi and Rugal? Do you think they belong in that God tier mode along Nameless, Terry, and Leona? And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GMT+7 time. The link is in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See you, everybody.